On this episode, we're going to count down the 3 most popular topics from the year. Welcome to your Consulting Business Podcast. My name is Russell Pearson, and this is episode number 63. Welcome to the holiday season. I am a good Catholic boy. I was a altar boy back in the day. I don't know what that means, but I was ringing a bell and I was giving people wine and doing all those things, but it does mean that I actually celebrate Christmas. And I'm looking forward to the Christmas period, not just because there are gifts and there are things going on with family and there's a lot of get-togethers, but also 2 days before Christmas is my birthday. That's right, the 23rd of December, which I think is actually after this episode is released, in fact, this might be Christmas. I think this is Christmas Day, depending on where you are in the world. That's when we're releasing this episode. So Merry Christmas to you all. But today I would like to discuss the 3 most popular topics from throughout the year. We went back and had a look at the analytics, had a look at the statistics, and actually saw which episodes were the ones that actually attracted your attention. And I wanted to have a little chat about each of those topics. So we'll get onto that in just a minute. If you love these sort of things, if you're looking forward to the new year and all the episodes we're going to be putting out, please subscribe to the channel. We love having new subscribers subscribing on a regular basis. And we'd love you to leave a comment or a review just to let us know how we're going. So today we're going to count down the 3 most popular topics. They're not necessarily in order, but all 3 of these were big at different points in the year. Now, interestingly, they go all the way back to episode 4. So while the actual episode was recorded just before the last 365 days, it has certainly been one of the ones that's been most watched. And that first video is, drum roll please, it's about how to get retainers. So what is a consulting retainer and how do you go about getting them? Well, you don't just get them, people. These are things, these are engagements that you need to craft and design with a client. But if someone is looking for your expertise to follow them along a journey or for them to be in consistent contact with you throughout the process of either a project or creating a milestone or an outcome, a retainer-based model is perfect for you. Now, retainers aren't necessarily perfect for everybody because sometimes they don't want to be retained. The consultant actually wants to go in, do project work and leave. That's absolutely fine. You get to choose. You get to select where and how and what you do in your own consulting business. But what's great about retainers is the consistency of income. So whether it be a $5,000 retainer, a $7,000, a $10,000 retainer, you were getting these sort of numbers every single month. Now, they don't just come from you saying, I want a retainer. They come from you defining a specific value that is within your ability to provide somebody. And if they are in agreement that this is highly valuable, then they might want to work with you. Now, because I just want to really give you a quick example of how a retainer might work in your world. So for me, my expertise are largely around marketing and sales. So whether it be a fractal marketing manager or sales manager, that certainly could be a thing where I come in and do that role for someone. But retainers they're retaining you for your expertise. So you don't really want to have a specific role within an organization with that retainer. You want to be retained for your advice, for your mentorship, or for potentially your coaching. Now, in the world of marketing, which is where I used to have my retainers and the majority of my retainers, I would be able to actually look at an organization and say to them, well, you've got 2 choices. Right now, you're needing to put someone on in a marketing capacity. And most organizations will actually look to a graduate to come in to do some of that work. Unfortunately, a graduate does not come with a large amount of expertise. They certainly don't come with any experience, and it's still going to cost you at least $60,000 to even get them on the floor. Then you've got to train them up, hopefully they understand, and hopefully they work out, and over a period of time, they will eventually become better. But instead of that, you can actually get me for $60,000 a year, so $5,000 a month. And this is back in the day when I was actually charging these sort of numbers. Different now. We have a very different pricing structure now. But back in the day, you could actually have me come in and actually create not do the marketing as such. Sometimes I would do the marketing, but a lot of the time it was actually to manage the marketing. And so I'd come in and manage the marketing, and it didn't take me the full 38 hours that it takes so many graduates to sort of get things put in the right place. It would take me less than a day to actually get as much output as that graduate did for the organization. And I had the expertise and knowledge to strategically be able to actually make that work with the business. So someone would pay me $5,000 a month, and multiple people were doing that at the same time. And I would give them, $120,000, $180,000 of value, because I was replacing a key role that they really needed in their organization for a limited period of time. I was even able to employ people to fill the gap, which I would then leave. So I was able to fill that gap for the organization as well, and be responsible. So this is the key about retainers. What are you responsible for? What is the responsibilities that you're taking on, so that it's not tied to hourly time? You don't want to be tied to hourly time. You're tied to expertise, outcomes, value, and potentially responsibilities. So they're the keys on how you can go about defining your retainer. But if you want more detail on that, obviously, go ahead, check that out. It's episode number 4 of your Consulting Business Podcast, and it's definitely one to watch if you're interested in the concept of retainers. Now, for everyone who was on audio and listened to the podcast just then, you can actually go and search for episode 4 and or for the word retainers, and you can watch that full episode. I think it's around 27 minutes. So that was number 1. Number 2, when it comes to what was the most popular in 2023, before we even get to 2024, which I'm excited for. A lot of cool things are coming down the pipe. Let's talk about not the second most watched. This was in fact the most watched video and the most listened to podcast of the year, and it continues to be one of our most popular pieces that the people watch, on a very regular basis. So it was all about creating a consulting website, and ideally consulting websites at work. What do you need to do to have a consulting website that is actually going to do the work for you? Well, in that episode, we talked about the fact that you don't even need necessarily to have a website to be actually doing some great things online in your consulting practice. In fact, before you're up to about $250,000, maybe $300,000, you can actually just use LinkedIn to do a lot of that work. But if you are going to create a website because you feel that you want to have that authority or that positioning or whatever it might be that you want a website for, there were specific steps that I recommended that you should put in place to make sure that the website was effective. Now, what do I mean by effective? Well, most websites, that's most service-based business websites, are actually converting at less than 1% conversion rate. And so I challenge you to go and actually have a look at the conversion rates on your website. Hopefully you've got analytics, you've got some statistics that you can actually call on, and I think that you will see that they are less than 1%, or in almost all the cases. If you're above 1%, then you're actually above the average. And that's a great place to be. But on average, globally, across all sectors, and we're talking about Amazon, Google, like all these places that have ways for you to buy things as e-commerce, the average conversion rate is 2.3%. So it's not big, right? It's not a big conversion rate that most people are going for. And in fact, I will show you, and I have actually in a course that we put together recently, I'm going to put it. Actually, I'll put the link to the course that we actually created, because it's a very affordable piece that you might want to actually get into if you are thinking of building a website for your consulting practice. Definitely go and look at this course before you get started, because we actually create like almost a blueprint of what are the things that are important in creating the website and what you need to do. So go to there'll be a link either right here that Alfred will hopefully have put in from the comments, but it'll also be in the the description of this video as well. So make sure you go and check that out if you're interested in putting a website together. It's a very affordable way for you to be 100% clear of what needs to happen for your consulting business website to be very, very effective. But we also have, and I'll go this way this time, a video, and that was episode number, I think it was 16, although, that's right. it's episode 16, but we put episode 15 on it. So it'll be 16 or 15, depending on where you're looking for it, but it's consulting business websites is what that's all about. And so really the episode that we did was about how do you approach the concept of websites before when you're getting started in your consulting practice. And a lot of the time, the things that people are telling you about having a website, that you need to spend several $1,000s, get a good website up so that people can find you, is actually very false, because a website is just a location that nobody's visiting yet. So it's far more important to actually get people to visit you or visit something, and it doesn't even have to be a website. It could be, like I said before, a LinkedIn profile or a landing page or something. But then when they do go there, what do you do about it? How do you actually make it perform even better? And that's one of the things that we certainly do in that course, which I can make available to you right now. So that was number 2. And
I wanted to quickly jump in and remind you about RussellPearsonPrograms.com. We put all sorts of resources specifically for consultants on that page. And if you go there right now, you'll see that there are some new resources available absolutely free for you to download. So go to RussellPearsonPrograms.com. Now, back to the show.
Certainly the most popular. Now, very close to that, we actually did a video not too long ago that was, I think it was 57 was the number. And we didn't do that too long ago, and it was all about the release of the new GPTs. And I sounded like my mother when I said that. It's like how she used to say, DVD. I didn't mean to pace through it that way. It's the GPTs, right? And GPTs are like these agents that you can actually customize for yourself. So you can create, the example is, I want to have a book writing coach agent or a book writing coach GPT. And so the one already exists, actually. You can actually find it and use it, and it will give you some amazing suggestions on the things that you can do to improve your, this is not just your copy, but actually improve the structure of the writing that you're doing, is just an example. You could also create a GPT around being a financial manager. So like you would ask this financial manager, this is what I'm thinking about doing. What are the risks and opportunities of that? What are the pros and cons? And so you might have a board of directors, right? You might have your expert in marketing, your expert in finance, your expert in strategy, and you can set them up so that they are customized to your specific business with your specific preferences. Now, in that episode, and I'll just go there, which you can find right here, episode number 57, we will actually walk you through the actual steps to set them up yourself. So that you can actually have GPTs working for you. Now, you did need to have, I think, the paid version of ChatGPT to actually have access to it. But at this day and age, if you are a consultant who has some understanding of technology, you should be doing this on a paid basis, not because it's going to take over your job, not because it's something that you need to be utilizing on a daily basis, but because of the brainstorming power and the ability to have it suggest things based off some ideas that you have. Because consulting itself, just by its very nature, the majority of consultants are solo practitioners. It can be a very lonely job. And I don't mean lonely like I need partnership in this. I'm talking about lonely in like the siloing of ideas. You know, we have, as consultants, we're all experts in what we do. And so it takes for us to go and speak to peers. It takes that effort to go and actually find opportunities to speak to peers for us to really bounce our ideas around to strengthen them and actually find where they're flawed, right? That's part of the growth process for you as a successful consultant. And so the great thing about these GPTs and about ChatGPT in general is that we can actually start bouncing our ideas off them to find the pros and cons, the weaknesses, the strengths in our own explanations of our own expertise. So especially if you do anything around training, if you're looking for ways for people to recall what you're teaching them, for them to remember the concepts and the methodologies that you use, it's an incredibly great way of having a third party look at your work and actually work with you in partnership. So there's all sorts of great AI tools that you can use as a consultant. We talk about the GPTs and the new release that was not even that long ago in episode 57. But what you can also find in that session about websites is we actually talk about the top 10 AI tools that you should be using for the digital side of your consulting practice. So if you don't already have a copy or the recording of that session, go to that landing page and you can purchase it now. Also, now I may have jumped in at some point. Alfred does tend to put in the little advertisement that talks about RussellPearsonPrograms.com, and we want to do that to make sure, number one, that if I haven't said it, that you know about it, because RussellPearsonPrograms.com has free resources for consultants. And if you're a consultant who hasn't gone there in the last few weeks, maybe go and check it out. See if there's a free resource that you don't have yet, because the one I think that I won't even talk about that because you could be watching it in the future. Go there and you'll be able to see if the resource is something you'd like to download. It's absolutely free, but every single thing that we put there is highly valuable for helping either you create a new perspective around your consulting practice, or for you to have a tactic or a tool that you can actually use to increase your income or leverage your time. So it's all about this concept of the select consultant. That's one of the things that we talk about a lot on this channel. Being the select consultant, how do you become one? What does it mean? But in essence, the result is that you get to work when you want, working with the clients you want, in the way you want. It is all about choices. The choices we select. We're selecting the things that we want in our life, and we're selecting the things that we don't. So we're becoming selective in the way that we work. Not only so that we can actually just live a lifestyle that's great, but also so we can do great work. There's no point in working with a client that we can't do great work with. You know, if you come across a prospect and you go, this one's either going to be too difficult, or this one's not going to suit the outcomes that we produce, pass them to someone else who's going to do better with them. But that's the whole point of you improving your expertise, not to just get stale and rotten in, I knew something once and now, the world's moved on. As select consultants, we need to be responsible for our own development, which means that we're always continuing to develop so that we're strong and adaptable no matter what comes in the environment that we find ourselves in. So, Merry Christmas to you, Happy Holidays or Festivus for the rest of us, for all those people, no matter what you're actually doing. I hope that you have a great couple of weeks ahead and spend some time with friends and family and just, do something fun. That's part of the life that we lead when we're actually running our business. We get to set our own hours. We get to choose when we want. And since everyone else is taking time off right now, it is a great opportunity for us to catch up with them and enjoy some downtime. So I wish that for you. I hope that you and your family have a safe and happy holiday season. Until next time, my name's Russell Pearson, and I will catch you on the next one. Stay passionate. Bye for now.